They had a race at Daytona. They had a 500-mile race. You win. Whether you're upside down or sideways or luck into it, doesn't make any difference. He'll always be remembered as...
Richard Petty, a 7-time NASCAR Cup Series champion, has always been a voice of wisdom in the racing community. But recently, he took to social media to share a straightforward solution to the problems plaguing superspeedway racing. His answer? More horsepower. In a video posted on his official X account, Petty said, "The way to make them more exciting is to give them more horsepower and let them run faster. The faster they run, the more the driver has to stay on his toes."
The way to make it more exciting is give them more horsepower and let them run faster. The faster they run, the more the driver has to stay on his toes.
When it comes to making things more exciting, one way to do it is by adding more power and allowing them to move faster. The faster they go, the more the person in control has to stay alert, focused, and ready to handle the speed. It's all about pushing limits and staying sharp to keep up with the increased intensity. He added, "When you get cars running 200 miles an hour instead of 185 miles an hour, all the drivers are not capable of running that speed, that close to each other. That's the first thing to really separate the cars because that's how it used to be." Petty's comments come after years of criticism about the current generation of stock cars, which often lead to tight clusters of vehicles on the track. These clusters can result in massive crashes, like the one involving Ryan Preece during the 2025 Daytona 500. When cars are designed to go even faster, like 200 miles per hour instead of 185, it becomes much harder for all drivers to handle that speed, especially when they're racing so close to each other. This extra speed creates a clear difference between the drivers and the cars. Not everyone can keep up at that level, and that's what starts to separate the best from the rest. It's a reminder of how racing used to be, where speed and skill truly set the top competitors apart.
3,600 pounds.
Well, nothing weighs that much at 186 mile an hour.
Saw the airbox just blow away. The right front tucked up underneath the A-post there.
The 2025 Daytona 500 was nothing short of chaotic. Ryan Preece, driving for RFK Racing, made contact with Christopher Bell during Stage 3 and went airborne in a shocking flip. This wasn't the first time Preece faced such a terrifying incident. In 2023, he flipped at the same track during the Coke Zero Sugar 400. After the race, Preece didn't hold back his frustration. He said, "We keep beating on a door, hoping for a different result, and we know where there's a problem, at superspeedways. Something needs to be done because cars are lifting off the ground like that. Everything about that, airborne heading toward the fence, it's not a good place to be in, honestly. With a hit like that, a head-on impact, I don't really think it should have gone airborne. I'm just not very happy." Preece's crash was just one of many during the chaotic Daytona 500, highlighting the unpredictable and dangerous nature of the race. This year's event saw a staggering 35 out of 41 cars involved in wrecks, marking the highest number of crashes since 2019. The sheer volume of accidents has reignited concerns among drivers, teams, and safety experts about the design and durability of NASCAR's next-gen cars. While the next-gen cars were introduced to improve competition and reduce costs, critics argue that they may not absorb impacts as effectively as previous models, putting drivers at greater risk. Many believe that the rigid structure of the vehicles, while enhancing performance, has also contributed to more severe crashes and injuries. Additionally, some drivers have voiced concerns about how the cars handle in high-speed pack racing, where close-quarters competition increases the likelihood of multi-car pileups. Richard Petty isn't alone in his call for change. Denny Hamlin, a 3-time Daytona 500 winner, has also voiced his concerns about the lack of horsepower in the next-gen cars. Hamlin believes this has made it harder for drivers to pass each other, leading to more crashes. Hamlin said, "I feel like the Daytona 500 is a microcosm of the sport in general. We took away horsepower because we wanted to look good on TV, but not to actually pass." Petty and Hamlin's shared perspective highlights a growing debate in NASCAR. Are the current cars too slow? And is the lack of horsepower making races more dangerous? The next-gen cars introduced in 2022 were supposed to revolutionize NASCAR, but many, including Richard Petty, have been critical of their performance. Petty once said, "If somebody pulls out, they have to have help because they don't have any horsepower. You pull out of line and go forward. Then the next lap, 14 cars come back by, and you're still running wide open. This lack of horsepower has led to aggressive and daring racing, with drivers often risking everything to gain an edge. While this makes for exciting TV, it also increases the likelihood of wrecks. So, what's next for superspeedway racing? Richard Petty's call for more horsepower has sparked a heated debate. Fans and drivers alike are wondering if NASCAR will take action to address these concerns. Petty's solution is clear. Give them more horsepower and let them run faster. But will NASCAR listen to the king? Only time will tell. Richard Petty's bold statements have shaken the NASCAR world. His call for more horsepower and faster cars has reignited the debate about the future of superspeedway racing. Will NASCAR take action to make races safer and more exciting? Or will the chaos continue? One thing is certain, Richard Petty's voice will always be a guiding force in the world of racing. As he once said, the faster they run, the more the driver has to stay on his toes. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what NASCAR needs right now. But beyond the debate over horsepower, this moment in NASCAR history represents a crossroads. Does the sport prioritize safety over spectacle? Or does it find a middle ground that preserves the intensity while protecting the drivers? Petty, Hamlin, and countless fans believe that unlocking more horsepower could be the key to achieving both. After all, NASCAR's golden era was defined by high speeds, high skill, and high stakes. Perhaps it's time to return to those roots. However, the decision isn't just about what's best for the sport. It's about the business side of NASCAR. Higher speeds mean higher risks, which could translate into more concerns from sponsors, manufacturers, and safety officials. NASCAR's leadership must weigh these factors carefully before making any drastic changes. Yet, if history has taught us anything, it's that Richard Petty's insights should never be taken lightly. The King's voice carries weight. His experience, success, and legacy have shaped NASCAR into what it is today. And when he speaks, people listen. Whether NASCAR officials will take his words to heart remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. The conversation about horsepower, speed, and safety is far from over. Fans, drivers, and teams will be watching closely to see if changes are made before the next big race. So, will NASCAR bring back the raw power that once defined its most legendary races? Will they give drivers the tools they need to separate the best from the rest? Or will they continue down the path of controlled pack racing, where every move is a calculated risk in a high-speed chess match? One thing is clear, Richard Petty isn't backing down. His message is simple: give them more horsepower and let them run faster. Whether NASCAR listens or not, the King has spoken, and his words will continue to shape the debate for years to come.